Hey, welcome back to HumansAreKind TV. I'm so glad you're here. Every single week I go looking for the same thing, proof that people are still good to each other. Some weeks I really have to dig. This week the world made my job easy. I've got 9 stories for you, all of them real, all of them reported, and all of them happened between the 17th and the 23rd of August, 2026, one single week. Let's get into it.
Before we start, let me show you where we're going, because I want you to see the shape of this week. 6 regions, 9 stories. A fisherman in Mexico, a bus driver in South Korea, 60 tons of school supplies leaving the UAE sanitation workers in Italy, a sleepover in a dog shelter in Durban. And that's not even all of it. Stick around to the end, because the last one, the one from Kyrgyzstan, is my favorite thing that happened this week. Here's what I want you to notice as we go. Almost nobody in this episode is famous. Almost nobody did it for an audience.
So there's a reason so much of this landed in 1 week. Wednesday the 19th was World Humanitarian Day. It's the day the world stops to thank the aid workers and the volunteers, the people who run toward the crisis that everybody else is running away from. And look at these numbers with me. $3.9 billion in UAE aid to Gaza. That's 46% of all global assistance to Gaza. Nearly half from one country. 1.2 million people in Colombia still needing help after the earthquake on the 10th of August. 71 aid airdrops flown under a single operation. Those are big, abstract numbers. Yever Eternal's Royal Dag Town. So for the rest of this episode, I want to zoom all the way in, down to individual people, because that's where kindness actually lives, not so... Let's go to Mexico. A fisherman named Erasto Crisanto Valdez went missing inside a flooded cave, and he wasn't in there for a few hours. He was in there for 15 days. 15 days. No food, no light, no way out. Now I want you to think about the search effort. Think about day 9, day 11. Think about what it takes to keep going back into pitch black water you cannot see through for a man that most people would have quietly written off by then. They didn't write him off. On the 20th of August, divers went back in, and they brought him out alive. That's the story. Nobody gave up on a man they had every reason to stop looking for. Now, South Korea, the 19th of August, it's raining. There's a passenger on an express bus with mobility difficulties, and he has an accident on board. And if you've ever had a moment like that in public, you know it's not really about the mess. It's about the humiliation. The driver pulled over. He helped clean the man up, and then he found him fresh clothes. And here's the part I love. He never told anybody. Somebody else posted it. It went viral. And then South Korea's transport minister, Kim Yoon-duk, went on social media and basically said, I am looking for this bus driver because I want to thank him myself. A government minister had to go hunting for him. That's how quiet this man was about it. That wasn't charity. That was somebody handing another person their dignity back, is the CO. Same day, the 19th, the UAE Sharjah Charity International launched a campaign called With Knowledge, We Rise. And they flew more than 60 tons of school supplies, stationery, notebooks, pencils, out of Sharjah Airport, headed for Gaza. More than 25,000 school bags planned. Now sit with what that actually means for a second. These are supplies for children whose classrooms are gone. You don't pack 60 tons of pencils unless you believe there's going to be a school year worth preparing for. That is a kind of stubborn hope. And honestly, I find it hard to watch without feeling something. Okay, deep breath. Let's go somewhere lighter. Italy, the 17th of August. A woman realizes, and I cannot imagine this feeling, that she has thrown away a lottery ticket, a winning one, €1 million gone into the bin. Now, the local sanitation workers could have just shrugged, not their problem, or, and let's be honest here, they could have found it and said absolutely nothing. They didn't. They joined the search. They helped her hunt it down, and she got her €1 million back. That's the whole story, and I love it, because that's what integrity actually is, not what you do when people are watching, what you do when nobody would ever know. Back to Colombia now, and this is the human side of that 1.2 million figure I showed you earlier. 10 days after that 7.4 magnitude earthquake, the UN said 1.2 million people still needed help, and in the meantime, neighbors were still out there forming human chains, moving rubble by hand, because waiting wasn't an option. But here's what got me. On the 18th of August, 2,000 miles away, students in Decatur, Georgia collected 895 masks and shipped them to the emergency crews in Mabia. 800 masks, gathered by teenagers who will never meet a single person who ends up wearing one. That's the same instinct at two totally different scales. Neighbors digging with their hands and kids on another continent doing the one thing they could do. Two quick ones from the United States, the 20th and 21st. First, a woman handed out $1 million in bonuses to the teachers in her school district. $1 million! No campaign, no fundraiser, no conditions attached. Just here, this is yours. Second, the singer Olivia Rodrigo quietly covered tuition for a first-generation college student named Jamie Causey, who graduated debt-free because of it. And notice, neither of these was announced by the person giving the money. Both of them came out because the people who received it couldn't stay quiet about it. That's my favorite kind of generosity, the kind that doesn't need an audience. South Africa, Durban, the 21st of August. A group of animal lovers volunteered to spend the entire night inside the SPCA. And I don't mean a nice sponsored sleepover in a hall somewhere. I mean in the kennels, on the floor, no warm bed. Why? To raise money for the animals who sleep there every single night of the year. They raised over 222,000 rand. And it's Women's Month in South Africa right now, which feels right, because so much of that country's animal welfare work is led by women, day in, day out, with almost no recognition. 222,000 rand, raised by people who gave up one comfortable night. Staying in South Africa, on the KwaZulu-Natal coast, because I want to widen what we mean by compassion for a minute, on the 21st, coastal communities up in northern KwaZulu-Natal started reseeding mussel beds, mixing local knowledge with scientific monitoring to bring back a food source families there actually depend on. On the 23rd, Durban's coastal policing and rescue teams dived together at the Umdloti estuary and cut out illegal gill nets that were killing marine life. And just before our window opened, on the 16th, a whole crowd of strangers on a South African beach worked together to carry a stranded Risso's dolphin back into the water. One of them described it as people working as one. Same instinct we've seen all episode, protect the thing that can't protect itself. Just pointed at a coastline instead of a person. Okay, this is the one I've been waiting to tell you. Kyrgyzstan, the 18th of August. There's a small charity run by two people, Julie and John Wright, Arday, and they put 68 people from rural villages on a bus and took them to Lake Isikul. 47 of those 68 people were seeing that lake for the first time in their lives. 10 of them had never been on a holiday. Not a bad holiday, any holiday, ever. And here's the number that stopped me. The whole day cost $1,300. $1,300, 68 people, 47 first times, and they'd already booked the next bus, 65 more people for the week after. Whatever you think it costs to change somebody's life, it's probably less than that. Quick round of the ones I couldn't give a full segment to. The 17th, Bartow County, 2 school staff saved a 3rd grader who was choking on his lunch on the 2nd day of term. The 20th, Silver Spring, firefighters got 3 contract workers off a burning restaurant roof at midnight. Nobody hurt. The 21st, a whole town covered the wages of a beloved pizzeria's staff while the owners rebuilt after a fire, so nobody lost a paycheck. And the 22nd, after a week-long effort, rescuers pulled more than 60 cats off an abandoned sailboat. 60. None of those made a front page anywhere. All of them happened, and Anne saves all. So that's the week. And look at who actually did all of this. A bus driver, 2 bin men in Italy, a cave diver, a handful of teenagers with a box of masks, 2 people in Kyrgyzstan with a bus, and $1,300. Between the 17th and the 23rd of August, the people who made the world kinder were almost entirely ordinary. And honestly, there were far more of them than I had room for in this episode. That's the whole point of this channel. The kindness that actually holds the world together is almost never famous. So here's what I want from you. Drop the kindest thing you saw this week in the comments. Doesn't have to be big. It won't be famous either. That's fine. Subscribe if you're not already. New kindness report every Sunday. And I'll see you next week.